a client, once we get through, scheduling and contracts and all that, and we are actually done on site performing our inspections, what you're looking at here, let me turn off the controls. This is how a client, when they log in, this is their community homepage. So to access any of the building files that we have compiled, everything is displayed here under this View Facility by Name. Mm-hmm. All of these PDFs here are hyperlinked and interactive PDFs, and we'll get into that briefly. But the rest of the stuff that we're going to look at on this homepage first, we'll start with the Preparedness Library. This library here is a repository for many types of files. You could have, and probably more so geared towards safety-related documentation. So think of it as a one-stop shop to deposit all of your safety-related materials. So it could be a fire extinguisher inspection list. You could have MSDS sheets and guidelines within each respective building. If there was a certain, if you had guidelines towards evacuation zones, reunification areas, evacuation maps, all of those separate documents can be stored in one location and very easily accessible. Right. You wouldn't have to actually go into the folder to access those files. Think of those additional files just like these quick links here, but they would be displayed underneath this Google map as additional safety documents. For the demo, we don't have those in here because a lot of times those are, we could craft something, but they're usually pretty specific to a building and the rules of how that organization has displayed stuff and how they're trying to communicate that information. It's usually, most of that is kind of one-off, if you know what I mean. This view by location, this is just a Google map or a Bing map or something like that. So if we were to go into this feature here, it's just another way to access these interactive PDFs here. So you would click the map, and what it does is it shows you an overall area of your campus or your district. And from that view, you can, similarly to these PDFs, just click a link, and then it downloads a file, and then you can access them that way. Sometimes that's very helpful. So if you have maybe a multi-building incident going on, you can kind of understand, a physical awareness of how much space is in between each location and whatnot. Go ahead and get into a PDF so I can kind of show you the real star of the legacy of what BeSafe has done over 20 years. So clicking any one of these hyperlinks here initiates a download. So if I clicked on Brookside Elementary, you'll see that the file is downloaded. I'll open this up. Next page here is just an aerial view of whatever building that we're working with. This is, again, very helpful, just like the Google map or Bing map I was talking about. This is just for staging purposes, or, if I want to know that this looks like a great area over here to stage maybe some media to whoever's covering the event. Now, the next page here, so this is the floor plan here that we developed. These are all scalable vector images. We use outside programs to develop our floor plan. So what we're doing, like I had mentioned briefly before, is we are sending staff out to a site, and they are physically walking every square inch of a building, determining if the structure of the building is correct. An example I like to use is a number of years ago, I was working on a project in Massachusetts, and the chief of police had given me floor plans, blueprints. So I can make notes everywhere, and the chief had asked, okay, Mike, where would you like to start? I said, well, Chief, why don't we head back to the pool, because it's the farthest section of the building. We'll start there and work our way back. He says, what pool? I'm like, well, Chief, right here, your blueprints are telling me there's a pool in this high school. He goes, there's no pool here. So, that officer thought, his blueprints were good to go. There's not even a pool in the building, There isn't really any direct competitor to what BeSafe is doing. There's many other companies out there that, are offering similar, a similar concept. But nobody's actually going out and physically inspecting these buildings to pick up all of this data. Some of these blueprints have wiring diagrams, plumbing diagrams. You can't, and essentially at that point, you can't even determine what's a wall and what's a hose or what's a pipe, because it all kind of looks the same when you're looking at a blueprint. What we're trying to do is clean up a floor plan, as well as, inspecting and verifying what's really there. We are stripping out, non-essential information for a first responder. As you notice, the farther we zoom in, there's nothing going on in terms of this floor plan getting blurred out or anything. Everything remains clean and crisp, and that's the beauty of a scalable vector graphic. So as I get farther into this file, again, all the walls, all the doors are clean. You can read everything here. So all these little icons here, so this is an icon for a fire extinguisher. This is a camera, but here's a pull station. Over here in the kitchen, we have an Ansel, so that's a fire suppression system. So we're just kind of indicating that right here would be the button to activate that system. These blue boxes, so there's a blue box here, and if I zoom back out a little bit, there's going to be some more. So what these boxes are indicating, do you see how my cursor changes over from just an arrow to a hand? So this is indicating that I can do something with this. So these are hyperlinks. So if I click this button, that's pretty much what it is, it takes me to that particular side of the building and all of those images that are in question. Clicking this button here takes me back to my previous view. But if I really wanted to drill into this, there's another one here, and if I zoom in, you can see that says roof access. So if I click this button, it takes me to the picture of that exact access. Over on the left-hand side of this page, let me zoom out just a little bit for you. We would call this kind of like your header information. So, quick info about the building if you're on this page, but this is important here because this is showing you the last time that the floor plans have actually been touched. Clients, as we've had them on our portal for any number of months or a year or something like that. There might be some renovation that's happened to the building, so our clients will communicate those updates to us. We will actually go in, update the building PDF with the floor plans, and then upload that file back to our portal, and then generate a new compiled file. Then all those changes are here. But a little more fun navigation. So if we're looking at the legend over here, and I don't feel like finding where is, this certain utility, but I can read right here, oh, look, there's a fire alarm control panel, and it is in the building. Well, where is it? If I click this hyperlink, it takes me to that location in the building. And then if I click this link or button, it takes me to, again, like the rest that we were looking at, that particular item that's in question. I'm looking at it right now, And again, back button functionality, it's the same thing. Moving through the floor plan, we are showing from floor to floor. If you look real nice, and you can see that the building's not jumping all over the place. We are literally like, boom, I'm on the next floor, and nothing really moved, right? It looks nice, clean, and crisp. Let me zoom back in, show you some more detail on these plans. All of this green that you're looking at, that's just indicating glass or a window. We touched on it a little bit, but you could probably see here where the level of importance of indicating that, look, these small workrooms, you can see that there's glass in this door, right? So if I'm coming into, and there's also a window, but we're indicating which way the doors are swinging. So the arc or the curve here indicates the path of the door, and this, the thicker line here, that's actually the door itself. So the day we left this building, this is exactly how everything was laid out and displayed. Again, here's another roof access. So, the way we laid it out is next to the other. It's just, it helps in keeping like items near each other. But we're showing that. So right here, here's the roof, right? But that's actually the whole layout of the rest of the building below where we're sitting at. So if I continue through, it's all, again, here's another level, more roof access here. There's, elevators. Again, this building had a lot of roof access. I recall walking through this one. And then the back end of the file is all those digital images that we took. So you can scroll through and look at the pictures if you like, and everything's tied to one of those links that we were looking at. Let's see. So, jumping into another building, you'll see that what I'm going to try to convey here is that we lay out all of our buildings and all of our information the same from building to building. So it provides that level of familiarity. So that way, if you think about a large event, right, and you have mutual aid. So you have, neighboring communities, first responders coming to your community. They can, if they have access to these files or maybe in a bigger event, dispatch or something is providing additional access to these files to that mutual aid coming on site or on the way to an incident, so they have that additional level of info, it's all familiar and it's all set up the same. So again, it's obviously a different building, so information would change from contact or square footage and all that, but it is the same layout, so I know what I'm looking at every time I'm looking at it. Same thing with the aerial photo and the blueprints and the floor plans. It's all laid out similarly, so that way there is that level of familiarity. You're looking at here different colors of links because this is one facility, but it's actually two separate buildings connected by a bridge here. So if I were to look at this picture here, you can see that bridge back here far in the corner. And then here's another view of it as well.
Okay.
But it's all laid out the same. And it allows, again, that familiarity from, one building to the other to a different one. It feels the same. And everything that we're displaying in these PDFs, we have generated this information working with first responders, police, fire, emergency management personnel. So what they're asking to be displayed is what you're looking at today. This is the information that they're looking for. So jumping back out of the files, so right here is kind of our back end, and think about it as like a data entry form. So I can't click into anything here, but what we've developed is a little layer of security. So if you had multiple administrators and somebody's deciding they want to update info while somebody else is, they can't. We only allow one person in at a time. So clicking this button here will initialize my edit mode. So now you can see that I can click into stuff here. Things that I can't click into is what we call shared information. So think about a large district like Aldine. They have, 60 to almost 80 buildings. That's a massive amount, right? So if I needed to change the superintendent, do you think you'd want to go in there and change that 75 times? No. So now building-specific info, obviously, right? We've got a new director or something. That's fine. I got fired, and now you're going to be the new director. So what you would do is you'd put your information in here, because this is relating to the facilities department. You'd scroll down to the bottom, and this is before I go too far ahead. But this is all that customizable information. I was talking about drop down, so I no longer have access control systems. But anyway, I got fired, and now you're going to be the new assistant director. I put your information in. I come down here. If this says exactly what you're going to do. This box is checked so you can update that PDF. And you can save and end, which would our system will produce or write a brand new PDF with all those floor plans, all the information. And then on that home page, those quick links, how we are accessing the files, those PDFs will then get updated with a new date. Okay. Let me show you like a real-time update. So let's just say that there's no longer controlled access. So there's no longer controlled access. We'll delete the description. I'm going to come down here and save and end. I believe this is facilities. So you can see that the portal's chugging right now. So it's thinking, it's writing, and producing a new PDF. This should only take a second or two. This is just showing you that the system is processing and writing a new file. And as soon as that is done, go back up to the top, and it'll let us know, because I've ended my session. So this whole thing here is going to change. It's going to let me know that the file has been written, and then we can go back to the home page and take a peek. And we updated the facilities building. We removed, controlled access. So let's open up that file. And there will be a couple of things to highlight here. So you can see that now this file was updated today. And we get down to now we no longer have access control. So these are kind of a way to think about them in addition to just the PDF or a way to view information in the floor plan. They're kind of, they're like living documents. So like I mentioned before, you can update the information any number of times throughout the day. What we do it very well. We are currently working on a completely web-based display, which is one of the reasons that we are working in the Aldine district and why we were in Houston 2 days ago. So we're developing a product called Active Shield. And what Active Shield does is it takes our digital floor plans and integrates it into IoT software and hardware. So what that could mean is that if we were looking at cameras on our floor plan. So could you imagine if I could click that camera on a floor plan and pull up that live feed? Now, take it a step further. What if I could click on a controlled access door and lock that door from a floor plan? What if I had panic buttons in a building or in a room, and I could activate them from a floor plan, or communicate a teacher or a staff member in a room could click an app on their phone and initiate some sort of event, right? So that's the next level.